Hi, and welcome to the Selected Tech podcast, brought to you by a group of 4 MVPs doing webinars, sessions, and interviews on all things SharePoint, Office 365, and the Microsoft AI ecosystem. Their motto is learn, share, reuse. And here they are, Albert Jan, Rick, Stephan, and Tommy.
So, good evening. Welcome to another episode, number 19 already. Tonight we're going to talk you through building messaging extensions with the bot framework in Teams. And the reason why this is really cool is that Stephan showed us last week. It was not in our recording yet, but he showed us last week on how you can actually build a messaging extension where the messaging extension allows you to save a conversation or save a chat message to Planner or to To-Do, which is really awesome because I've been struggling really hard with Teams. There are quite a few conversations that I try to keep track of, and one of the things that I always feel is, hey, there is something I need to do. Someone tags me in a message, and what I then usually do is I'll do the save for later so that I have a list of things that I need to either reply to or have to take action on. And sometimes there are things that takes me for like 30 minutes to think about a proper answer. And then if I'm on a normal working day, I will always forget that I need to reply to that. So at the end of the week, I've got like 12 or 13 different things in my save for later that I still have to follow up on. And what Stephan showed us is that we can really easy save that conversation or save a thread message to either Planner or To-Do, which really helped me and keep on track of the things that I need to do because I use my To-Do both for work and private. So that's, I really like this approach. So what he will do is he will show us how he actually built it and what you'll need to do to keep track of those important things in Teams for you. Stephan, take it away.
Cool. So before we look on how to actually build that stuff, let me quickly just exit my presentation. So there we go. So what we have here is a quite normal chatbot. Does nothing more than helping users to fulfill their tasks. So of course we can have a conversation with that bot. As it's installed in our Teams client via Teams app, we can have a conversation with it. But what we also did is we have some messaging extension attached to the same bot. So for instance, if I go now ahead and hover over the ellipsis and click on it, we have those more actions button up here where you can see we have custom actions defined here, for example, creating a task. So what I can do now is I can click on create task, and that will actually bring up my messaging extension as an adaptive card. What we see here is we have two options to create either a to-do task for personal to-dos, or we can hit planner task to create a planner task. So if I go ahead now and select some title, like selected tech, we can go ahead, edit the start date, due date, and then just create to-do task. And what the bot will now actually do for me is to call the to-do API, create the task for me, and if the task has been created, I'll get the response back, hey, your task is created, and I can easily click on open task, and this will bring me to my to-do web app where the task should be found in a second. There it is, select tech, and from there I can go ahead and edit the task if I want to set a reminder. And the cool thing here is I also have a link back to my conversation. So if I click that and I don't want to open that in my Teams client, I use the web app instead, it will bring me back to that exact same conversation where I created the task in. So I have a kind of back channel into my conversation, and I can easily then go from my task to my conversation back and forth. And this doesn't work only in one-on-one chats. The cool thing here is it's also working in Teams conversations. So if I do the same on a Teams conversation, hit more actions, create a task, I can now also select the to-do task, but in most cases within a team, I want to have like a planner task created. So I select the planner task option and I insert some title some due date, start date, and then I can select a plan where this task should be created in. So I have my recent plans listed here, or my favorite ones. And once I click create planner task, the same routine kicks in. The bot will send me a private message saying your task has been created. And now I have the same option here to open the task in my planner. And from there on, I can edit my task. I can change the assignees. The bot has already assigned myself to the task. I can add more assignees. I can select the bucket, and I can add notes and checklists and whatever. So that's it mainly from the user's perspective. From the code's perspective, and I'll stop my debugging now. It's right now kind of a mess. It's not yet production ready. But the thing here is, what you would need to do within your bot is to first of all, register your tasks or the triggers for your tasks. So these are the basically strings you define within your Teams app, where you need to fill in some trigger for your tasks. And then from there on, what it will do is first of all check if the user has been signed in. So if the user is not using, or if the user is using it for the first time, the bot will actually prompt the user to sign in first. And then what it will do is to either check if it's a Teams conversation. And if it's a Teams conversation, we get the current plan of that team, if there is any, and fill in the adaptive card with the planner names or plan names, and then present that to the user. And after the user has actually selected either to do or planner and has inserted the details, I'll go ahead and then use the Graph API to actually post or make a post request to either create the to-do item, which is somewhere here, create task. So I have a function here, a method, create task async, where I had the Graph API. And we still see here it's under Outlook. At Build Conference, they announced a dedicated to-do API, so I have to have a look into that to actually change that to the new to-do API. But the same is true for Planner. So if we go for Planner, we have a where is it? I'm kind of blind right now. Create Planner task async, where we hit the Graph API, create a new Planner task. And then if the task has been created, we message back to the user in the one-on-one chat, task has been created with an adaptive card. Here's the link to the task, and now you can go ahead and work on your task. So that's basically it from what is implemented now. What I still need to look into is what's called just-in-time installation, because if we go back to our Teams client, and for instance, if we select a team where the bot is not yet member of, you will still see the messaging extension here, and you can still hit it. But the thing is, if the bot is not part of the conversation, the bot cannot actually handle the conversation parts within the messaging extension. So you would need to first add it to the conversation and then call the messaging extension. And Teams has a really cool feature, which is called just-in-time installation, where you can actually pre-check if the bot is part of the conversation. If not, present an adaptive card with a button for installing the app first. And then if the bot is installed, you can use it within any conversation. So that's kind of the automatic trigger for adding the bot to a conversation where he's not yet part of, to use it everywhere you want to. I guess that's it in a really fast run through.
So basically, really, really cool. Potentially, you could also say, let's skip the adaptive card part where we now allow you to select between planner and to-do and just only provide to-do because, well, we're using only to-do in our organization, right? That doesn't change the code that well, that much.
No. You can basically use whatever task management tool you want to use. You just need to have some API for that. So if you want to use Trello or I don't know, Wunderlist, if it's still available, you can use that as well.
Yeah.
And the thing is that you can also think of, I mean, Stephan now created the UI, everything on adaptive cards. So the bot has the render logic of the adaptive card in its code base. With Teams, what you can also do is that you can point the user to an iframe.
Yeah.
And with the Blazor client-side GA announcement from last week, you could even think of a scenario where you deploy a Blazor client-side application on an Azure static website to surface a UI here and reuse that. And that's what we are thinking of playing in with this the next time. So how easy it is to get another type of UI in there, so that the bot. Then you have two options. Should the bot be the responsible component that takes the data and works with it, or is the bot then just notified, okay, somebody has taken care of the user input, go ahead? And with this approach, Stephan, at least for the bot, you want to notify the user, so you need to think of handing at least back a message, okay, everything worked, notify the user and give back information from the other system. But this opens up the door for a third-party integration that gives you the idea of a broader user interface inside of Teams as well.
Yeah. Well, the extensibility scenario is coming together now, right? Because you have multiple options and integration options to hook other systems into here as well, or to hook Teams into other systems.
Yeah, true.
And new templates, I think, or didn't they announce new Visual Studio templates for Teams as well, for scaffolding bots faster with Visual Studio? I think so.
Yeah, they did announce the both Visual Studio Code and Visual Studio itself templates. With really cool new stuff. On the other end, we already have a nice Yeoman scaffolding generator that allows us to do most of the things. So we'll see what takes off.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool stuff.
Yeah, really cool.
No naughty questions from your side?
No, it's something that I really want to run in our fandom because, like I said, I'm having a gazillion items in my read later list that I abuse as a task list for now because, well, we are running, I don't know, I think 200 teams and I'm active in like 30 of them. So if there is something I need to do, I get tagged in that and they're like, hey, Epi, can you have a look at this? And then it's in my notification list. But I also want to stay and know what's happening in other teams. So I follow another few teams. And then if I look at my notification list, I'm like, after a day, I'm completely lost. So that's not, if I don't do it during the day, then I'm totally forgotten. And this way, like if I get tagged in a review for a proposal for a client, either I have to put it on my task list or I have to block it in my calendar because reviewing a proposal takes me an hour and there's no way I can do it quicker. And I can only do like one of those in between if there are two proposals during the same day. No way that I can remember that. So having the option to add stuff to my task list really, really makes life easier for me.
That's weird that this isn't out of the box already.
Yeah. Let's see what the new task model brings. And
the thing is, I guess it's not yet out of the box because the thing is you have to use for some let's say graph calls the beta APIs.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing they won't put any beta endpoints into the product because we all know how beta actually goes. So for to do, I'm using the beta endpoint to actually create the task because it's not. You could use the Exchange Web Services, but
Yeah.
that's kind of deprecated.
Yeah.
And they just announced the to-do API a couple of days ago. So
Yeah.
I guess that's the reason why they don't have it in the product yet.
Does make some sense, but still, it's nice to have the option.
Yeah, of course.
And while you say it's not production-ready code, it doesn't look too complex. So I'm not.
Yeah,
I think the hard part is figuring out what you need to do, but once it is there, it looks fairly easy to me. So
yeah, the hard part was around authentication, of course.
Yeah.
So to make the authentication actually work is quite of a tricky challenge within the bot framework Teams platform.
Yeah.
And the second thing is you need to have a couple of components ready. So you need to have your Azure AD app registrations ready. You need to have the correct API permissions ready and that kind of thing. The bot per se isn't the hard task, but the components around it.
Yeah, and I can imagine that it gets confusing if you build it for Planner and then try to integrate to-do. You have to make sure that the to-do permissions are there as well. And if they're not, you're just like, your graph calls ain't working. And debugging messaging extensions isn't, well, the easiest experience, I guess, but.
No, certainly not.
Yeah. And the Planner API still only works with delegate permissions, right? There's no app permissions possible.
I think that's changed. It's still the same on. Oh damn, man, that's a long time already.
It's still the same.
Let me see.
Yeah.
And that was the hard part to actually make the whole authentication story to work.
Yeah. Yeah, cool stuff, man. Really cool stuff.
Yeah, especially the authentication. All right, once you see it, it's like, oh yeah, that looks easy, but to figure it out.
Yeah.
And this will change again over the summer
I hope so.
With the whole single sign-on story integrated in the bot framework.
Yeah.
It was pre-announced already at the build last week. Yeah. Hopefully it's easier then.
That's going to be interesting to see there as well. And yeah, probably because it's going to be a next big thing, it will require some rework if you want to do, or if you want to use the new stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what I figured out now is now we have, let's say, the authentication for the graph. But if you want to use, let's say, dynamic CRM, you have to log in as well. So you need to log in 3 times, once in Teams, once for the graph, and once for CRM or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that's not how users want to actually use those kind of things.
Not really, no.
They envisioned the graph to be the single endpoint for everything. So, well, in the fullness of time, there probably will be an option to swap out the tokens. But yeah, for now, there are a few exceptions where you will have to get a different token or make sure that you're signed in.
Yeah. Let's hope so.
Really, really cool stuff, man. Really cool stuff.
Thanks.
It's something I will bring live to our tenant as soon as possible.
Yeah, the code is already on my blog post. I'm trying to actually push the whole bot framework or bot code to a repo in the bot builder community, so you can basically just clone the repo and run the bot and use it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Working on that.
Awesome stuff. Guess that's it for tonight then.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. See ya.
Thank you for listening. Make sure to check out the show notes at selectedtech.show to get all the mentioned references. And one more thing, please tweet about the podcast and give them a 5-star review. This really helps the guys a lot. Thank you and see you next time. Bye.